Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle with the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Well, thank you so very much, everyone, for joining us here this midweek for Global Morning. It's always a delight to know that you're spending a part of your morning with us. Of course, as the reason it's called Breakfast Show. Again, we appreciate your time. I am Uyi Agmofwebe, and my colleague, Governor Sunday, is co-anchoring this morning. Good to see you, Godwin.
Good morning. And it's so good to see you too this
Right.
morning. And you're looking bright this morning.
Well, what can I say? I'm grateful.
Well, good morning to all the viewers across the world, and welcome to Global Morning.
All right, great. Let's get it on the road, everyone. Quite a number of things to talk about today. First off, just at the let's say at the wee hours of today, news came through about the leadership of the NNPCL being restructured. Quite a critical move by the president. Apparently, you look at the whole oil industry, you realize that there have been challenges, but there have also been wins. So when the news came through this morning that Dr. Melekari, of course, up until now, the group chief executive officer of the NNPCL, as well as the leadership of the board, had been removed by the president effective today, 2nd of April. Of course, replacements have also been announced, which as well take effect from today. Many persons felt, well, maybe it was time to try new hands, or what they call fresh blood, especially when you look at it from the standpoint of how critical the oil sector is to our economy and national survival. Right.
So now I was even looking at the issue, looking at the 11-man board that President Tinubu has initiated. I felt for one that we would have had more representation coming in from the southern part of Nigeria.
Okay.
Because these people, most of them feel marginalized. To a very large extent, the oil wells in our region, removing Abba Kyari, one would have felt like, okay, you're bringing in somebody from the
Maybe
south part of the country.
As against the southwest.
Yeah, as against the southwest. So at least the south can pilot the affairs of the NNPC. But I think the president knows what he wants at this point in time. But then Abba Kyari has come, he has served.
Right.
Of course, we can't take that away. He's the first board chairman of the NNPCL, when it was incorporated as a limited liability company and also. But looking at all of this again, one will begin to ask salient question. If the president has the power to remove the NNPCL chairman, or the board, dissolve the board
and management,
the board and management,
right.
dissolve the board, the president can as well look for ways to ensure that he also relegate his position as the Minister of Petroleum.
Now you're shaking one table. You know we have several tables. The last one is what you're about to break now.
No, let's just finish the leg on the table. So people see this is a smart move, but then we ought to see more moves like this, where the president will come out and say, at this point, I'm relinquishing my power as the Minister of Petroleum. We saw President, the last time we had a Minister of Petroleum was
under former Jonathan
administration, where we have Denziani. That was the last one.
Right.
Buhari was the Minister of Petroleum.
Well, let's say the de facto Minister of Petroleum for an entire 8 years.
For 8 good years.
Right.
And we're seeing that playing out again for the second time. So we hope that if we have a Minister of Petroleum and that move, that call comes from Minister of Petroleum,
right.
it will be a welcome development. Because right now there's no way we can even sanction the NNPCL. We can even call. There's nobody to even hold accountable for the NNPCLs and some of these downstream regulations and all of those policies being put in place. But we hope that the leg of this table will still stand, because we hope that the president will, at this point, also do the needful when it comes to the Minister of Petroleum in this case.
You know, there's something President Bola Tinubu does very well that many Nigerians can't take their eyes off from, whether they are going to criticize this or not, right? Is the fact that every time he makes a move like this, there are always established reasons as to what informed that kind of action. For example, we understand that Section 59, subsection 2 of the Petroleum Industry Act empowers the president to take actions like this. And he says there are reasons why this was done. First of all, he says it's to establish the board's restructuring is crucial for enhancing operational efficiency. Every business entity needs that. The NNPCL is a business, whether we like it or not, even though it's a national entity as we know it. All right. It says also to restore investor confidence, boost local content, drive economic growth, and advance gas commercialization and diversification. Nigeria, it goes without saying, is rich. I mean, extremely rich in gas. But the question is, have we got the economic blessing that comes from gas so far? At a point in this country, I remember particularly when you had former Lagos State Governor Raji Babatunde Fashola as Minister of Power in this country.
Holding 3 portfolios.
Right, at that time. I mean, first time in history, man broke record. All right. We would every now and then talk about how that shortage of gas was the reason there was power outage, there was breakdown of power supply, and what have you. Yet Nigeria is able to export gas in large quantity. Nigeria is able to stand up tall, I mean, in the Community of Nations in terms of gas production. But the question is, has the economic advantage we have derived from it been commensurate with the endowment that we have in that regard? So the president is saying that this is one of the reasons this kind of action had to be taken. And there's also the long, medium and short-term projections. What we must achieve with the industry by 2027, what we must accomplish by 2030. And the president says this kind of restructuring is very necessary to be able to achieve these milestones.
But interesting again, you know, when I looked at the number of the board itself, and I'm looking at
11.
Yeah, 11.
Right.
And so one would have felt again that looking at all of the modalities of the NNPCL and looking at some of the powers that it has amassed for itself over the years, when NNPC was moved from NNPC to NNPCL,
right.
I thought for one,
after the unbundling,
I thought for one that at that point we will be able to get some form of shares, bonds, some of the debentures going out there, and putting it
Get listed on stock exchange
market,
right,
and
right.
putting all of the records straight, and ensure that the NNPC, what you've mentioned, that NNPCL has become a business, whichever way we look at it,
right.
it is a business. So I, for one, was again looking at it from the angle of, since this is a business, can we do the business side of it, where NNPCL begins to compete with the oil magnates in the country. Let's not start mentioning names, but I thought for one that they will begin to look up. We should set up a body that will begin to now regulate the NNPCL.
Right.
Not the NNPCL regulate. What happened recently where we had a situation where the NNPCL had to mandate most fuel stations to cut down the price of the fuel. Now, in that case, who watches the watchdog?
Right.
And in that particular...
What are the checks over the NNPC?
Yes. I was looking at it from that light. So at this point, people say the NNPCL has become commercialized. It has become a means for the government to drive home its economic policies and also generate funds for the government. Then we should also have the conversation of saying, hey, at this point, it has outlived its statutory provision,
right,
which which brought it into existence. So let's look at ways to begin to fine-tune some of the act and ensure that we have a balanced conversation in that regard. But we didn't see all of that play out. But we hope that the president will begin to look at it, since the president has summoned the courage. Although there's this rumor out there that says that, of course, this has been in the known. Media guys have known this
for a while.
But
right.
We're just waiting for a public announcement of this nature. Let me debunk it that media guys were not in the know. We're not in the know all of this. But again, I say big up, congratulations to Mr. President for taking the bull by the horns and making this announcement. Of course, it's a welcome development.
Right.
We'll see what the incoming board will be able to deliver in the days ahead.
Of course. All right, their work is cut out for them. I mean, the board and leadership, the management of the NNPCL as we know it today, whether it's about regulation or driving both ends of the sector, upstream and downstream. We'll take a quick break now, everyone. And when we return, we'll take a look at the big headlines from across our national dailies for you to stay with us.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range are the latest news making rounds on Global Money.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Money. know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What's your problem?
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back, and just in case George joining us, this is the Global Morning, and sincerely apologize for inability to bring you the newspaper review, but we will definitely bring it to you. But let's look at matters arising right now in Kogi State, where Senator Natasha Homecoming was greeted with a lot of crowd yesterday, and she has come out to say, "I'm not a bastard, I know my roots. I am an Ibira woman. I am not afraid of anybody. This is not campaign time. I'm just coming to celebrate the Salah period with my people. I am not breaking any law." She continued saying that I'm just a simple poor Hihima girl. You know me, I grew up here, but for my husband, where will I have gotten the resources to come with a helicopter? When the press statement out trying to get Natasha's word for word, when we read the press releases yesterday, all roads and barricades leading to the major routes in Kogi Central, I knew we were up for a challenge, even though I am not a lawbreaker. We appreciate the powers of the governor and also respect the commissioner of police, but we didn't come by road nor convoyed, and we're not on the streets. We are in our hometown, so we broke no law. This is quite an interesting conversation.
You can say that again.
Natasha, of course, when the video was making the rounds yesterday across all socials, I had to go check up that video myself and check for twice to be sure that it's actually Natasha that was. When you see a woman put up this courage to stand in front of difficult times, and she's speaking up. She's telling you I'm going to show up, whichever way she showed up. It was a drama yesterday. I felt for one that she won't be able to enter Kogi Central the whole of yesterday.
Right.
But the way she came in, man, the helicopter dropped and she walked straight to the podium. And she was the cheers from her people. They were happy to see her. And of course, this is what she has been known for over the years. She comes down to Ibira land to celebrate with her people every now and then. But let's see, this is just part one of the saga. We know that the government of Kogi State would definitely respond to this particular action.
Yeah, just to add to that quickly, quite a timely conversation we're having this morning, Godwin. Incidentally, the government of Kogi State has responded already. Just to get right straight, they're saying that first of all, they've condemned the idea that she came into the states, even though there had been a ban of some kind. But of course, the lady says, we didn't come by road, right? Then the government now also says that it is urging security agencies to take action in this regard, because the government says it believes that the senator has flouted the ban placed on convoy, on rallies, demonstrations of any kind, and so on and so forth. But that's an argument that both parties can advance going forward. But like I said yesterday when Queen Agaba and I were here on the program, the drama appears, I mean, you used that term a while ago, but then it's more like a serial drama now. All right, this is more like one of the several modules in it, right? It has now moved from the Senate floor to Kogi States. At one point, on the one hand, it was more like the Senate President and the entire Senate on the one hand versus Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Now there's an expansion on that front that makes it look as if it's now the senator versus the government of Kogi State. So when I said yesterday on the program that she's an embattled senator, it just couldn't have come out better than that. So long and short of the story is, we understand we have to be careful about this conversation because there are aspects of this development that are already subject of litigation, all right? However, there is a political aspect that is even far more heated up than anything else. Of course, she has made allegations about sexual harassment and what have you. All of those issues are in front of the courts, having been looked into by the Ethics and Privileges Committee of the Senate. In any case, 2027 is not as far away as some of us will think, as against how politicians see it. I mean, evidence is out in the public that the senator is popular amongst the people. Yeah. You can't take that away. Exactly, you can't take that away. However, all the actors in this must be very careful. The government of Kogi State is an APC government. The governor in Kogi State, I mean, the governor now, talking about Usman Ododo, is the godson of the immediate past governor, Yahaya Bello. Yahaya Bello and Senator Natasha had their own long fights even before she became a senator. Of course, we saw all the fight that happened between both of them, leading into her election or emergence as a senator representing Kogi Central. But now, Bello is no longer in office. However, his extension, for want of better words, is the governor, all right, in that state right now. Yeah. And for the fact that there's loyalty, there is allegiance from Governor Ododo to former Governor Bello, it can only be imagined that this battle will be stretched a little further. In any case, the Governor Ododo is not going to allow a situation that seems to give any sort of advantage to Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan, who, of course, is of the People's Democratic Party. I can tell you for free, Godwin, that this feud is going to stretch into 2027. In fact, as far as Kogi election or Kogi politics is concerned, this is going to be one of the defining factors.
Interesting fight, if you want to use that word. Right. We're going to be looking at what is even some of the conversation that Natasha had yesterday with our people. One of them is that INEC were trying to be sentimental with the rigging process. They were trying to educate the people on how to do a recall process, that were being sentimental. And she also raised concern about a lot of issues yesterday. And one of those things she raised concern on is the fact that she said, let me see if I can. Said I was removed over LNG plant, not sexual harassment. So she makes a U-turn on that. And also we saw a red video where she said that's where we said a protest. Okay, let's take this one. Sorry. Okay, that's where she made that accusation against INEC, and she accused Akpabio, told Yaya to kill me in Kogi. I don't know how true this is, but then it is some of the conversation making around Akpabio asking Yaya Bello to kill her in Kogi State. Well, let's take that as speculation.
Right, of course. Just to establish, like you mentioned, that at best right now is speculation. Yes. You know, the issue of sexual harassment, we have said that many more times than we can count on our fingertips, that look, as they say in law, the burden of proof is on him who alleges. Yeah. All right, so if you have alleged that, I mean, if I allege that Godwin stole my phone, for example, the burden of proof is on me. All right, I have to be the one to establish or substantiate that claim. It's the same thing with sexual harassment, so you have to prove it. That said, one of the recent developments now is that the governor of Kogi State, Usman Ododo, as well as the president of the Senate, talking about Akpabio, is now, I mean, both of them are now asking that, they are now tackling Natasha over this assassination claim, because she says that they want to kill her. Because yesterday, if you remember, again, from this piece of story you were looking at a while ago, she had said if anything happens to her, there are 3 persons that should be held accountable. She mentioned the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. She mentioned Yahaya Bello, immediate past governor of Kogi State, her own state, and then the incumbent governor, Usman Ododo. So all of this said, it also now means that she would have to prove it. Because we've seen in recent times where people have gone to courts over cases of defamation. All right, defamation is a serious crime. People don't know that. They think it's just a matter of jumping on Facebook, on Twitter, and Instagram. On X, I should say, making wild allegations. All right, once you make allegations on whatever level concerning whatever issue, the burden of proof is on you. You'll be shocked how much of pressure and heat that burden will bring to you, because it's not enough to win sentiment or curry favor, based on emotions, just because you want to make a point. Sometimes just political points. You would have to prove, because we've seen, for example, when we had former President Muhammadu Buhari in office, where the former Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, yes, had come out to say, look, this number of persons were indicted or were culpable in the embezzlement of public funds. And one of the persons he didn't mention then was a man who at the time was the PDP national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus. Secondus, from what I read then, had gone to court to challenge that position, to say, I must be delisted. You must remove my name from that list, because I've never held public office. On what basis did the government of the then President Muhammadu Buhari come to the conclusion that I was involved in corruption of any kind? And court ruled in his favor and said his name should be removed from that list. And apology tendered and what have you. What's the point? The point here is simple. You don't make wild allegations, whether you are a government official, elected or appointed, or you are just a regular citizen, because you want to win a point, or you want to tarnish somebody, you want to dent somebody's hard-earned reputation, or what have you. Because politicians have this as their stock in trade, all right? So, especially again when it's close to the election nearing period, they are all looking at the optics and seeing how they can throw their hats in the ring and put their best foot forward, even if that means pulling someone else down.
Interesting. Days ahead, we're going to see more drama play out, even in Kogi State, because even looking at it from the part of the governor telling the security agencies to go ahead and do the needful, we hope that the security agencies will also look at this whole conversation from 2 angles. First, she has mentioned that she did not, there was no rally.
Right.
They didn't occupy the street.
The street, yes.
They occupied a particular field in our town, which is like a reception for her, people coming to greet her, and there's no way she could take them to her house.
Right.
But let's see if the security agencies will look beyond their nose at this point and want to, no, the way it seems most times like security agencies want to do beyond what they are asked to do.
Maybe driven by overzealousness.
You can use that word again. But then, because I was looking at it from the angle of, first, there was no convoy that came with her in this instance.
Right.
So if she flew in, has she violated any law in Kogi State? Now, we understand that the governor has given an order that people should not convene. There shouldn't be any form of rally.
Right.
In the
there was that a rally. What we saw yesterday.
Yeah. They were just in a particular. I wish the pictures can even be seen on the screen. They were just within a particular
stationed.
They were not moving.
Right.
They were just having a conversation. So, would that amount to breaking of the law in Kogi State? Because it was like a premeditated conversation where the governor says, do the needful. Go out there and it's talking to security agencies and all of this conversation. We hope that the security agencies will look at this conversation, this whole the comedy, or this, let me not say comedy, the tragedy from 2 angles, because for me it's a drama in Kogi State. We hope that the security agencies will look at it so that we won't begin to paint the wrong pictures that the security agencies and the law, they don't understand the ingredients of the law. that they are meant to protect.
One of the things that I see has happened here, if you ask me, quite frankly, given all the information we have now and all of the news stories we read between yesterday and this morning. Of course, we can't sit here and take side with lawlessness. If a government, if an authority, established authority or constituted authority, as a former governor who is now passed once said, all right, puts up a directive or a law or an order, you are expected to obey. But I think, quite frankly, if you want to be dispassionate, that Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan outsmarted the Kogi State government on this one. All right, because first of all, you said very specifically that there can't be rally. You didn't want sirens. You didn't want a convoy, motorcades of any kind. You didn't want demonstration of any sort. The lady didn't even come by road. She didn't get involved in any rally.
All of those.
There were no demonstrations. All right, so she comes into a field and an open space, open air. She puts up this kind of if you like, outing where she is stationed and she's talking to her people, more like you're having a town hall, even though, like I mentioned, this was open air. So in light of this order that was put out by Kogi State government on the eve of her visit to her home state, to her constituency, is it possible, whether in the court of public opinion or in a court of law, for Kogi State government to press charges? Now, the government is telling security forces to take action, security agencies to take action. The question is, on what basis will such action be taken? And what exactly will those actions be like in the eye of the law? You see, when we say rule of law, for example, Queen Angaba and I talked about this very extensively yesterday. It is politicians who are the first to even infringe, who are the first to overreach themselves, whether they are governors, whether they're president, whether they are legislators at state or federal level. Because the fact of the matter is, the rule of law is not just about how you mouth it. It's about how you live it out by example. For instance, we still have a situation in this country today at several levels, including within political parties, plus the ruling political parties at every point in time since 1999, where a competent law court would give an order, all right, deliver a judgment, and the national chairman of that party, the state chairman of that party, the governor who is the leader of that party in the states, sometimes even the president will say, we have not received the judgment. We have not seen the judgment. Well, we have seen the judgment. We are still studying the judgment. The judgment is subject to review. It is not an academic paper. The judgment is not a research work. Therefore, what are you studying? The judgment is to be carried out. Then the same elected or appointed public officer comes again tomorrow and says, let's establish the rule of law. Let's follow the rule of law. It doesn't work because it has to be garbage in, garbage out, as they say in computer science. So the Kogi State's situation now is another litmus test, as science students will say.
Let's see how it plays out in the days ahead. It's going to be one very long journey.
Right.
Senator Natasha at this point fighting on two fronts. It's going to be one interesting journey for her. But then when you mentioned that the fact that she outsmarted the Kogi State government, I think that works to a very large extent. It worked. But because for one, she didn't flaunt any rules in Kogi State. Right. We didn't see any of that happen in Kogi State. And of course, I'm not trying to be the spokesperson for Natasha right now. I'm not a mouthpiece, but then I'm looking at it from various angles of this conversation. Where we now say, if the police are going to act, like we've said before, on what basis are they going to be acted upon?
Right.
So if the law says, don't do this, and she has not done them, what would the police be investigating?
Well, I think that question is an open-ended one. Hopefully we'll find answers in the days and weeks ahead. We're taking another quick break just to remind you that at top of the hour, it will be time for the Global AM News. Do stay with us, everyone.
know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Today is Wednesday, the second in the month of April, and for Edo people and, of course, the politics in that state, it's going to be a very pivotal day because this is the day set aside for judgment delivery by the Edo State Election Petition Tribunal. It's been a long time coming. Actors in the states and beyond, whether those in the political parties and their supporters or the everyday citizens in that state, have looked forward to this day to see what happens. Let's just quickly put it in perspective for you. The election that was conducted sometime in September of 2024 did produce a governor whom, in the person of Senator Monday Okpebholo. All right, so by 12th of November, he was sworn in, and then since then, he's been the governor of the state. However, the PDP, that is the People's Democratic Party in the state, and of course, the candidate of the party, Dr. Asue Godalo, had gone to court to challenge that position. Of course, the tribunal had taken several weeks to sit and look into this matter, and then had also announced that judgment had been reserved. Today is judgment day of some kind. However, there had been these supposed judgments, purported judgments.
I was coming to that point.
Exactly, that had been in circulation since yesterday.
Yes.
All right. Now, we are not even touching that with a 1,000-foot pole because the authority to deliver judgment in cases like this rests solely on the tribunal itself, which will happen in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Today, of course, Global Television will follow all of that development for you. But in the meantime, is a reminder that we should have gone past by now the point where For a governor to have been in office since November, this is April, so we're looking at least 5 months, and you are still talking about litigation in light of that same election. It's a setback, isn't it?
It is a setback. And of course, we can't shy away from that. I think that's why INEC is proposing to have a special court for this issues like of this magnitude, where they won't go, the election matter won't go through the regular court. They'll just have to resolve it within the time frame. Because this takes us back to a political conversation. It takes us one step behind. If we're talking about this after 25 years after now the democratic journey, this is a sad one.
It is.
This is what has even led to most states in Nigeria having off-season elections in this regard. So if we have a case of Edo State and still in tribunal, what happens if the tribunal eventually declares, let's say the tribunal declares PDP as the winner of this particular election? What will not happen? Would they not go back to retrospect? Or what's not going to happen?
And then, in that case, you again alter election timeline.
Yes, you don't have off-season elections again in Edo State, and this is really not a good one for. We hope that we can have a uniform electoral system in Nigeria where all states go to the poll almost the same time and they come out of the poll the same time. If whatever grievances that you hold, you can take it to court and get it resolved within a stipulated time. It means give or take 2 weeks.
I think one of the recommendations that one of the proposals being advanced right now by the National Assembly is to have a situation where election matters, particularly presidential election, are dispensed with before swearing in, so that the president or a governor is not already in office, and then their attention is divided between providing leadership, which is of course a matter of governors, and going to court, because sometimes these elected officers are not even sure of their fate, politically speaking, because they are still in court. But progressive minds are now thinking, hold on a second, can't we have a situation where we dispense with all of the election matters, pre-election matters, what have you, before a governor or a president?
But come to think about it, about 2-3 months before the government.
Exactly. So what are you doing with that window?
So if you have any issue, you can treat all of those conversations, have those dealings within the stipulated time.
Exactly.
Give or take 3 months. You're done with the conversation, then we do the swearing in. So going forward, nobody needs to come back to the courts. I think that's a welcome development for the National Assembly.
And it's going to take so much of progressive thinking and strategy to push that narrative.
Allow you to fly, by the way.
Well, we have to put in the work. Everybody must put their hand on the deck right now. But we're taking a quick break, everyone. Top of the hour, we'll bring you Global AM News here on Global Television. And behind that, we have 2 big conversations coming your way as well in the course of the program this morning. Do stay with us.
That Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily, while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. I am Godwin Sunday. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTimes channel 276. You can download the Global TV app on your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. And now to the news in details. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has cautioned members of the public, particularly youth groups and hiking enthusiasts, against embarking on camping and hiking activities without notifying security agencies. FCT Commissioner of Police Ajao Adewale emphasized the security risk associated with such outings, particularly in remote and unsecured locations. The police command further advised members of the public, especially youth groups, organizations, and hiking enthusiasts, to take necessary precautions before engaging in camping and hiking activities. The command spokesperson, Josephine Ada, stated, Governor Monday Okpebolo of Edo State has pledged to compensate the families of the 16 slain hunters who were allegedly murdered by vigilante group at Uromi in the state while on their way to Kano. He made the pledge when in the company of his Kano State counterpart, Abba Yusuf. He paid a condolence visit to the families of the late hunters of Tarankawa in Kano State. He said the state government is making arrangements to provide compensation to all victims affected by the incident, as well as commended the people of Kano State for remaining calm despite the situation. President Bola Tinubu says his administration has removed the Federal Capital Territory from the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to expedite development and enhance residents' participation in governance. The president, who received the territory's president at the presidential villa for Salah homage, led by its minister Nyesom Wike, explained that the bureaucracy associated with the TSA was hampering infrastructural development and growth in the capital city and had to be reviewed for impact and progress. Ramsey Enoch has details.
President Tinubu highlighted that freeing the Federal Capital Territory from Treasury single account restriction has swiftly catalyzed infrastructure improvement, enhanced healthcare services, as well as increased security measures. The president therefore urged more tolerance, broad-mindedness, and patriotism.
All I need to appeal for is the tolerance that got us this far. We had the lessons of Ramadan. We must continue to abide with that. We must continue to share. You must continue to remember those less privileged people, the orphanage, the widows and widowers, the have-nots, believing that we can share both in joy and in time of needs. And we can believe that Nigeria is greater than any one of us, including myself as the president.
The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike pledged his loyalty to the president and pledged to develop the capital city, assuring that the FCT will soon complete many projects.
As we approach the second anniversary of your administration, we're excited about the array of impactful projects that we have lined up for commissioning. These projects designed to improve infrastructure, economic opportunities, and overall quality of life stand as evidence to your administration's commitment to national development.
The Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris, among others, attended the ceremony. Ramsey Enoch reporting for Global TV News.
The Pan Niger Delta Forum, PANDEF, has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for assenting to the South-South Development Commission bill. In a statement by its national chairman, Ambassador Dr. Godknows Igali, the forum also lauded the National Assembly for its swift and diligent passage of the legislation. The statement noted that the decision reaffirms the federal government's commitment to ensuring equitable regional development across Nigeria. As the Eid Fitr celebration continues, Muslim faithful have gathered to show their excitement for the celebration. Global television correspondent Ozana Okorafo visited the park in the city of Abuja, where the Muslims gathered to mark the day.
The holy month of the Ramadan season is over, and we are in the Eid al-Fitr celebration, which started yesterday, 30th of March 2025. And we're out here in commemoration with our Muslim faithfuls to ask them one or two questions on how they're feeling about the Ramadan. Please come with us.
Muslim faithful have expressed their excitement with friends and family on the Eid al-Fitr celebration, giving thanks to Allah for a successful Ramadan and recounted the impact of the recent economic situation. They, however, stated that the situation has not prevented them from participating in the celebration.
Everything is expensive. We know everything is expensive in the market, but we can't do without food. We have to eat. We must eat.
Among the Muslim faithful were some people of the Christian faith who came along to celebrate with them.
So you rejoice to those that are rejoicing. I've come to rejoice the Muslim faithful. Let me also see how they celebrate and be in the same mood with them so that we'll make this country a better place. It has not been easy. The tough economic situation is biting hard on everybody, every Dick and Harry. But there's an all-knowing God, an all-sufficient God that has made it possible for us to continue to move on.
The sales, we still thank God. But many people, the picnickers that comes in here, they've been complaining about not even the price, they are complaining about no money. They hardly buy things this Salah time. They come, they will just come, but by the time they want to come, they will just come and say, let's just have water. You know, water is life.
By God's grace, every year we are praying for the more higher, and by special grace of God. And I think the way I expected last year was so nice, and this year was so nice too. So I enjoy it.
The public holiday extends till Tuesday, 1st of April. Hosanna Okorafo reporting for Global TV News.
Governor Hope Uzodinma has called on the Muslim community in Imo State to support government efforts at promoting peace and unity and security. The governor made the appeal during a special Salah banquet held at the Government House, Owerri, in celebration of Eid Fitr. Our correspondent Amarachi Ibe reports.
Speaking at the event, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma congratulated Muslim faithful on the successful completion of Ramadan and urged them to remain committed to fostering harmony and contributing to the state's development.
To celebrate together, to demonstrate the level of religious harmony in Imo State, to demonstrate brotherhood and the essence of living together, to show tolerance and show love to each other.
He assured the community that his administration is dedicated to fairness and inclusivity and promised to address their concerns. The governor also called on them to collaborate with security agencies in tackling crime.
Help the government to fight crime. Help the government to stop violence. Learn how to tolerate each other. We don't want disunity among the Muslims. We want you to be united. We want you to love yourselves. We want you to work together. We want you to do only those things that the Holy Quran allows.
In response, the chairman of Imo State Council for Islamic Affairs, Bashiru Wakwe, and the Sarikin House of Imo State, Awal Baba Suleiman, commended the governor for his inclusive governance. They also presented him with a portrait as a gesture of appreciation.
So happy because in your administration, you have never left an age
without carrying the Muslims along with you. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Islamic Calling family and the Muslim Right and the Muslim Council of Imo State, may I present this present to you.
The Salah banquet strengthened the government community ties and reaffirmed the administration's commitment to inclusivity and development.
Through your administration's dedication to security, business-friendly policies, and inclusive governance, you have reaffirmed that Imo State is a land of opportunity for all who reside lawfully within its bounds.
From Government House Owerri, Amarachi Ibe, reporting for Global TV News.
A lawmaker representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, says she would not back out on her plans to return to her constituency for the Salah break. The senator also urged her supporters to disregard speculations making the round that she has cancelled her scheduled visit. She disclosed this in a statement issued by a media team. Meanwhile, the police has asked Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan to cancel a planned Salah rally in the state. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Bala Abubakar, has commended the dedication of the air component of Operation Fansa Yama to the nation's security. Bala Abubakar gave the commendation in Katsina State in 2025 Salah launch on with personnel of the 213 Forward Operating Base and Air Component Operation Fansa Yama. He was represented by the Air Officer Commanding Special Operations Command, Usman Abdullahi. Angry residents of Otukpo, Benue State, have taken to the street in protest against the rising cases of killings and kidnappings in the area. The demonstrators chanting protesting songs blocked major roads, demanding urgent action from the government and security agencies to address the growing insecurity in the state. They lamented the frequent attacks, describing them as a constant occurrence. Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal will on Wednesday deliver judgment in the petition filed by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, Asue Ighodalo, against the September 21, 2025 governorship election in Edo. The PDP and Ighodalo are challenging the decision by the Independent National Electoral Commission to declare Senator Monday Okpebolo of the All Progressive Congress as winner of the poll. They alleged that the election was marred by irregularities. You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, Aino emerges FA's Cup top dribbler. Details coming shortly, plus business and foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Welcome back. In business, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, has urged the federal government to ensure that the newly approved $500 million loan by the World Bank to Nigeria is transparently disbursed to small businesses and vulnerable communities as intended by the borrower. The Director General of the Chamber, Dr. Chinyere Amona, said it acknowledged that the loan was given to Nigeria under the Community Action for Resilience and Economic Stimulus Program of the World Bank, noting that the facility is aimed at supporting small businesses and vulnerable households who bear the brunt of the nation's economic challenges. Nigeria's net foreign exchange reserve rose significantly
to 23.11 billion at the end of 2024, marking the highest level in over 3 years, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria. In a press statement, the Apex Bank noted that this represents a significant jump from $3.99 billion recorded at the end of 2023, $8.19 billion in 2022, and $14.59 billion in 2021. The NFER, which adjusts gross reserves to account for near-term liabilities such as FX swaps and forward contracts, is regarded as a more accurate measure of the country's foreign exchange buffers available to meet immediate external obligations. Asian and Europe market squeezed out gains, clawing back some of their recent hefty losses through sluggish sentiment and increased uncertainty. Saw gold hit another record high as Donald Trump prepares to unveil sweeping tariffs. Investors have been rushing to position themselves for the U.S. President's Liberation Day on Wednesday, when he warned he will impose levies on all countries for what he said is years of them ripping off Americans. Trump says he will be very kind when he unveils the tariff, but with little details on who will be hit with that. What trading flows are awash with uncertainties, hammering equities across the board and stoking recession fears. Vietnam says it cut import duties on a range of goods, including cars, liquefied gas, and some agricultural products, with concerns escalating ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's planned unveiling of sweeping tariffs on all countries. The announcement came after Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh said last month that Hanoi was reviewing levies in order to encourage increased import from the United States. Washington's trade deficit with Vietnam is the third highest of any country after China and Mexico, and there are increasing fears if it could be a key target of the White House tariff drive, which has sent shockwaves through global markets. On the foreign scene, the Democratic Party has sued the Trump administration over an attempt to impose sweeping changes on the election system, including requiring citizenship proof to register to vote and limiting mail-in ballot counting. In a lawsuit filed by the Democratic Party, asked the federal court to block the executive order which prevents states from counting mail-in ballots that arrive after election day. The president's directive also requires proof of citizenship to be presented through documents such as passport when registering to vote. The president does not get to dictate the rules of our elections, says the lawsuit filed in Washington by Democratic National Committee, National Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and others. United Kingdom Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has called for people smuggling gangs to be treated in the same way as terrorist organizations, urging global cooperation to combat organized migration crime. At an organized immigration crime summit in London, which brought together representatives from over 40 countries, Starmer emphasized the need for nations to collaborate in the fight against criminal gangs involved in smuggling. He reflected on his experience as the Director of Public Prosecution, where he walked across borders to thwart terrorist plots, saving thousands of lives. In sports, Nottingham Forest defender Ola Aina has emerged as the most prolific dribbler across this weekend FA Cup fixture, following their dramatic quarter-final victory over Brighton and Hove Albion on Saturday. Football statistics provided who scored says the Nigerian international completed 5 successful dribbles, more than any other player in the quarterfinals. His impressive display saw him outperform some of the Premier League's most renowned dribblers, including Manchester City Kevin De Bruyne and Bernard Silva and others. Tributes have continued to pour in from across the Nigerian boxing community following the tragic death of former national and West African light heavyweight champion Segun Success Olarewaju, who collapsed during a boxing match in Ghana on Saturday. Nigerian Boxing Board of Control Chairman Dr. Rafiu Ladipo expressed his condolences, saying, calling it an unfortunate loss. As Global TV AM News comes to an end, let's take a look at our major stories. Angry residents of Otukpo, Benue State have taken to the streets in protest against the rising cases of killing and kidnapping in the area. In business, Vietnam says it cut import duties on a range of goods including cars, liquefied gas and some agricultural products, with concerns escalating ahead of U.S. President Donald Trump's planned unveiling of sweeping tariffs on all countries. On the foreign scene, the Democratic Party has sued the Trump administration over an attempt to impose sweeping charges on election systems, including requiring citizenship proof to register to vote and limiting mail-in ballot counting. In sports, Nottingham Forest defender Ola Aina has emerged as the most prolific dribbler across this weekend's FA Cup fixture, following their dramatic quarter-final victory over Brighton on Saturday. And that's it on AM News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on StarTimes channel 276, and free-to-air on Night Comsat. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now showing on your screen using at Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigerian app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Godwin Sunday. Thank you for watching.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, latest news with experts on key global issues,
and at the same time keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds.
At the turn of the 21st century, there have been calls, and now those calls have become even more vehement in recent years for Nigeria's economy to be diversified. Now, when you have that conversation and put it on the table, one of the first, sectors that readily comes to many people's minds, including experts in this field of economic development, is agriculture, an area where Nigeria as a country has a very strong competitive advantage. But others have also argued that we have not settled for what economic model that is, that we should adopt as a country and as a people. Now, in the 21st century, technology drives virtually every aspect of our lives as a nation and as a society. In fact, STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and math, have now become more like the lubricants for driving advancements across the world, even though that conversation doesn't seem to be very big in Nigeria at the moment. And then there's the icing on the cake, if you like, which is the artificial intelligence elements, AI. That has become not just a popular phenomenon, it is now also more like a principality of some kind within the tech ecosystem. Just a few days ago, we heard or read in the news that Elon Musk's one of course aspects of his business is now buying up some other business interest that has to do with artificial intelligence. As a matter of fact, governments across the world, forward-thinking organizations and institutions are driving AI because they say it is now the future, even though there are ethical concerns around this phenomenon. When you bring it back home to Nigeria, for example, in what specific ways as a country and as a government can we leverage the quote-unquote blessings of artificial intelligence to not only drive economic growth and development, but also diversify in such a way that we can have multiple streams of income or revenue as a country? This morning, I'm joined by somebody who has a little more than a handle on some of these issues to help us find sense in this conversation. We're looking at Samuel Entiwe Theophilus. He's an AI engineer and the founder of Entiwe.io. First, Samuel, I'll say a big thank you to you for making our time to join us this Wednesday morning.
Thank you too for having me.
Yeah, great. So let's get a conversation on the road. AI for many people, it's more like, if you like, some sort of abstract factor or element. I can almost tell you for free that not many Nigerians even understand what AI means beyond the fact that they can go to, pick up their devices and punch keys here and there, maybe chat and do whatever. All of those basic things. Yes. What exactly is AI within the Nigerian context?
Yes, so thank you. That's a very important question, because I always like to tell people when I try to talk that AI is, you can't actually do much with AI when you don't understand AI. So AI is basically, for the layman, it's empowering the computer to be able to make intelligent decisions that are usually executed by humans. So that's simply what AI can be explained to be. So traditionally, software programs have have algorithms or have logic which they operate, which are not usually very intelligent. And so, but with humans, so humans have a level of intelligence, and this could be decision making. So these are the factors like decision making, understanding language, being able to process language or process images. These traditionally were not very familiar or were not feasible for the computer,
right?
Or were very difficult. So, but AI is basically empowering the computer to be able to make human decisions that or basically simulate human intelligence.
We also hear about things like machine learning, deep learning, and all of that. Are these components of AI as well?
Yes, they're subsets of AI. So AI has actually changed or transformed over time. When in initial stages of AI was basically had scenarios where the computer was it was more like a simulation, or will I say trying to because mainly we were dealing with expert systems. So for instance, we are building chatbots, then you try to simulate, so basically think of all the possible scenarios or possible questions. It was not truly intelligent, it was just a simulation of that intelligence. So you simulate all the possible questions a potential customer will ask you, and then you get answers, predefined answers for those things. And then that's why when you use a chatbot 10 years back, you get, and when you ask some questions, you can get, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Or if you try to run a facial recognition, if I don't have my glasses on, or if I have my glasses on, that variable could just change because it was not truly intelligent. It was just a simulation. So, but now with concepts like concepts like deep learning, like machine learning, these have actually changed how AI has improved AI to be what it is today, because now AI is able to truly learn as a human would from data. So this has empowered the data. So that's directly responsible for the breakthroughs in generative AI that we have. So that basically at a basic level, that's what machine learning basically make an algorithm or a concept that empowers the computer to be able to learn from data as a human would. Just like a child, you teach a child how to identify cats, dogs, and
colors.
Exactly, colors, all those things, and it learns, and over time it improves. So a computer can also do that. So using ML and deep learning algorithms.
Interesting. A few years ago, I started hearing things like IoT, Internet of Things, and all of that. Are these all a total package, or what exactly are we dealing with?
Okay, so in IoT works with intelligence. So, but IoT mainly is basically has to do with like chips, hardware. So, but of course, you can integrate AI to make this tool smart. So basically, so you have sense. So when you're talking about IoT, basically making device, getting your devices, or making your devices smart to communicate with each other. So, but if you want to tap truly into tools like that, let's take Alexa for instance. So if Alexa is powered by AI, or rather an AI assistant, so and it works. It has been designed to work with a lot of IoT devices, which makes it possible for it to send commands like turn off the lights, turn off this. So it's I would say they basically, if you are trying to make the best of AI, or make the best of even IoT, you have to like integrate AI to some point to make it very efficient. Else, you will just have very the intelligence, or you just have very basic functionality with IoT devices. So, but I wouldn't say it's a subset. I would say they're more like they are different.
Okay, then intertwined.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's drill a bit deeper into the artificial intelligence conversation. But let's domesticate it this time. Do you think? I mean, you are an industry person. Do you think Nigeria, what at the leadership level, in terms of what we're doing in governments and what we're doing as organizations? Of course, we have tech hubs dispersed across this country today, end to end, and all of that. But are we having enough real-time, radical, value-adding, defining moments kind of conversation around AI in terms of our economic direction?
I would say we are catching up.
Oh, we're catching up.
Yes, we're actually behind. Like we're actually behind. But because of the drive, there has been recent. So I actually tried to check the news and try to get solutions, and I can say to an extent the government is making some or setting up some programs. I know, for instance, the NDPC has a data related program that is set for June.
That's the Data Protection Commission.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So basically there are some innovation, or like let's say there's efforts are being made towards that, but we have a long way, because when it comes to when we talk about infrastructure, or even funding, like there's still a lot of room for growth. There, I would say we're making at the initial stages where we're trying to catch up, because the world is actually very hot on AI. If you look at the US and you look at China, look at the investments that are being made. So we are very, when you compare that and the energy we in Africa or Nigeria are moving, you can say that we're behind. But I hopefully we should more investments, more opportunities will be made available, because the AI is not going anytime soon. It's just getting more loud, and those who are not able to catch up are left behind.
When Dr. Bosulto Johnny was appointed in 2023 by President President Tinubu as Minister of Innovation, Digital Economy, and what have you, communications, many Nigerians, especially people like you who are in the tech field, those who are in fintech, they are in finance and what have you, thought it was time Nigeria hit a sigh of relief, given that this was not just a young man who had done a whole lot in his own private practice. I mean, CC Hub, even beyond the shores of West Africa, and all of that. When you look at all of that today, because whether you like it or not, government still, for the most part, drives the narrative. Let's look at policies, for example. Are we doing commendably well in that area?
I would say it's well. With regards to policies, it's like I said, there's always a lot of room for
improvement, right?
Improvement, but I would say we are not completely, will I say, inactive in that area. So because when you look at, for instance, the NDPR regulation that guides, because if you are dealing with data, one of the very common issues you would have as you start dealing with AI is the misuse of data, and you can see that in
privacy abuse.
Exactly. So you can see that a lot with a lot of the legal battles, and this not limited to just companies that are using AI, but also because we have, like, if you have most of these websites that have publicly available data,
Yeah.
you have crawling. So you have crawling consigns, right? So where you can actually build bots to like pull data and get a lot of things.
Invade people's privacy.
Exactly. So with NDPR in place, I would say that's actually a good point, because given that it's active and it's and although like the enforcement is basically like is when you compare it to how GDPR is being there's still a lot of room for growth. But I would say that it's to an extent we're not completely we're not completely as inactive as it might seem.
Right.
I would just say most of the challenges we have are around like infrastructure, right? Because when you talk about like working with AI, and so you have to be dealing with GPUs, you are dealing with cost for like training servers and then all these things. So this is where I feel we have a lot of work to do, because if for instance we are trying, because there's always this concern, okay, so what of the we have large language models, but tools like ChatGPT, DeepSeek don't really have much context on AI on Nigerian data sites, what is very publicly available there. So if let's say we want to build Nigerian themed large language models or foundational models,
how do you go about it?
How do you go about it? So you see, we now come talk about resources, because when you look at even DeepSeek, that's considered to be way cheaper than ChatGPT in terms of like when developing models, it still costs a lot of money. I think it was about $5 million that was spent trying to train that, compared to this. So you see, it still costs a lot of money to train this. So I would say that is where I feel. So with regards policies, we have some good policies, and they are actually currently improving and trying to catch up as well. So, but most of the challenge we have is with respect to like infrastructure and basically like embrace technical skills and also like infrastructure to like support this the drive for these innovations.
Interesting. But let's do a bit of specifics here. In what ways, I mean, from your standpoint, can we apply the power of AI, so I'd like to call it, to fields like agriculture, like fintech, like communications, and all of the things that converge to drive an economy? Okay,
that's a very good question, because I actually like to be very practical. So when you look at ways, I like to address them from two angles. So first, you can when it comes to, like you mentioned, IoT integration with hardware. So I'll give two examples with agriculture. So there was a project I worked on which basically was it was themed around the development of an AI solution. This is now prior, because when we talk about generative or AI, it seems like the AI or AI was just created or formed now, but AI has been there before ChatGPT. So basically on this project, this basically was the aim of the project was to optimize the application of herbicides on hectares of land. So now we are dealing with very large hectares, and then this required running capturing images of using drones to capture the farmland, and then basically taking these large images into an AI model and then identifying weeds with precision on these land farms. And then the idea was to be able to, once you spot the weed, because they are auto maps, so once you spot the weeds, you also have the coordinates of these weeds on the solution, and then the idea is to be able to spray herbicides only where they are needed. And this project saved the application of herbicides by about 60%. So that is an example of what success, or like what successful application of like AI can be. So the nozzles of whatever the equipment that is used to spray or apply these herbicides only activates at the point where these herbicides are applied. So it's saving application. So this is an example. So there are many ways in which AI can be applied. You can automate, for instance, your fish pond using IoT and with AI. There are a lot of AI applications.
Irrigation.
Exactly. So you can automate all these processes. You can even use it for like research and because most times when you talk of AI, the good thing with the breakthrough in AI now is it's not initially, if you wanted to run or build an AI model, you had to spend so much money to do that. But now with tools like with breakthrough in generative AI and APIs available, even small businesses can tap into AI without having to break the bank. Like you can actually start, you can gradually enter. So you can use that research process. So in fintech, you can use it for fraud detection. You can use it, you can build solutions around fraud detection. And you can also, because generally, irrespective of which industry you're in, AI in business, because one of the most powerful applications of AI is to use it to either improve customer experience or to drive sales or optimize your operations. So give it agriculture, fintech, whatever sector, it's education, whatever sector, you can optimize, basically, so automate repetitive tasks. So because when for instance you talk about agriculture or you talk about automating the fish pond, basically what you're trying to do is you are automating the process. So maybe detecting when the water needs to be changed, or detecting and also automatically like draining out water, filling it in with another, so basically these are repetitive tasks that can be automated. So when you look at fintech as well, how do you, for instance, due diligence, how do you automate that process?
Know your customer.
Yes, exactly. Knowing your customer, all this, like how do you automate this process? Currently, solutions are out there that already try to, for instance, you pull your the BVN from NIN, all these things. Yes, you validate all these things. So, but you can use AI. AI can be used to go a little bit further and like really drill into, really like understand. And this can be when you go to tax, like it can also be used to validate. There are a lot of because each organization has. There are slightly different due diligence scenarios, for or objectives for the why you carry out a due diligence on whatever prospect you have. So this can be used. So, like I said, fraud detection, extracting patterns, as simple as supermarkets. You can use, for instance, deep mining techniques like market basket analysis to find out the patterns in your customers. To find out, okay, what behavior are you noticing, and how can you, maybe it could be as simple as reshuffling how you arrange your products, and that drives growth. So there are a lot of ways that you could apply AI to. It's if I go into details, it will be. But of course, when you talk about like direct applications, you hear, okay, building chatbots, building very intelligent chatbots now that are able to like interface with your clients or respond to your clients or provide a self-service, or building call center, because right now you can actually build automated call center agents that can run sales if they are empowered by your data. And you can also go to the points of like I said, research or in knowledge base to onboard to handle things like even like recruitment. You can handle recruitment, you can handle, like you can build very intelligent databases that makes it very easy to, whether you want to run, whether you want to empower it for an automated sensitization tool, like for instance, so because or even education. So there are a lot of areas that, and when you talk about like the results, the results you could see. I like to measure results in a lot in very ways. So for some results you could have an increase in sales. For sometimes the result for your business could be a decrease in cost. Yes, so if you are able to automate some tasks, you can reduce costs. And also for other times it could be efficiency. So it could be efficiency, like driving efficiency, or even improving how your customers experience interact with your product. Because when you are able to like use let's say AI for customer profiling, you are able to understand your customer better and be more efficient.
There are two more things I need to ask you, so we'll wrap this up in a few minutes. One is the issue, I mean, just want to bundle it into one, right? The first is the issue of concerns around ethics, I mean, the ethical concerns around AI. Of course, we have seen Elon Musk speak to these issues. He has also expressed those concerns. That's number one. Number two is someone in the stature of Bill Gates saying that AI will take over certain jobs. And that seems to strike well, I don't want to say thunder, but it gives real concern to people how that AI, from all of the things we're seeing and hearing, will take people's jobs. The third, I didn't plan there was going to be a third, but there's the third, which is this term I mentioned when I introduced this discussion a while ago: science, tech, engineering, and math, for example. Walk us through all of this in the Nigerian context.
Okay, yes. So first, for the it's a very important question, because the first, which is the ethical concerns, right? So it's very important to have that, because if you are trying to integrate AI into business solutions, you can't have them messed up, because what it means is if the AI fails, you're going to have very catastrophic effects.
Right.
So a very good example, when ChatGPT was launched, it spewed, one of the challenges had hallucination. It had this basically this scenarios where it spews garbage information with confidence. So for instance, you can ask him who is the president of Nigeria, and then it could say,
could mention you.
Yes, exactly. So now imagine when you have this in, let's say, a law system. So that was problematic. So what solutions like RAG have been introduced to address these issues, where you have where it will only allow the AI to like have highly referenced or verifiable reference, and that's where solutions like AI solutions like Perplexity are used for research, because when that's a very key concern. So now it's very important that when you are working with AI developments or AI engineering experts, one, you ensure that they actually also understand this ethical concern or the limitations of AI, so that they're able to work with it. Because if you integrate and that's why it's also, because I'm actually like a certified like data controller, and this, so it's very important to understand first as a developer, to understand the limitations of this AI of AI, and also to understand from a user's point of view the right ways and the wrong ways to use AI. So I like to look at or especially with generative AI, I like to also to advise clients to look at it from the point of as an assistant, right? The right way. So when you're trying to integrate AI into your business, it's not a replacement. It shouldn't be a replacement for your creativity, for your need to perform your roles. It should just augment those things. So it's also when you're trying to deploy AI solutions for automation, I would say don't, even when you make it autonomous, don't make it unwatched. So if you are making it autonomous, you have to be able to watch every step of the decision process. And that's why, for instance, in tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and most of these large language models, you see what we call reasoning model. The idea of reasoning models is just to make it's another way to try to curtail some of these limitations, where you're trying to, like, the AI is not just giving you an answer. It's also thinking through and showing you how it gets, like explainable AI basically. So where it's not just getting you, it's not telling you 1 + 1 is 2. It's telling you why
1 + 1 is 2. So there's a whole lot of logic.
Exactly.
So that brings us to the second question of whether AI will take away our jobs.
Yes. So I would say for that particular question, it will transform jobs. The same way the internet introduce roles like YouTube, jobs like YouTuber, like TikToker, or
so they have content developers or content creators all over the place.
Exactly. So when you see when computer was also launched, it phased out, for instance, the need for human calculators, and then so of course some jobs which automation would phase out, but it will also introduce a lot of other roles, and it's not, and even it might not necessarily phase out a lot of roles. It might just transform how those roles. For instance, right, one of the common fears with ChatGPT was, okay, will it take out the need for writers? But even after ChatGPT was launched, after I had worked as a technical writer on varying projects, and it was still a very high demanding role, because there's you still need the skills and creativity to craft out an article that people will read. So basically, with ChatGPT now, it transforms or eases some of the processes you will need to write. But it's that need for human creativity and the need for basically that's that professional
touch
would still be there because and I think that's what would happen to many roles. For instance, software development. You now have large language models that can build apps from start just by typing prompts or prompting the information. You can type. So, but what happens now is quality assurance. So the roles of software developers might move more towards quality assurance, where you're trying to vet, because it's one thing for the AI to build a solution, and it's another thing for you to be able to vet it's actually doing what you want it to do, and also make adjustments, because if you don't know what you're doing, so you still need. So I would say it will transform a lot of roles, the way a lot of roles are being performed. It's not necessarily eliminate. It will eliminate some roles, but introduce others too, and then it will also transform how a lot of roles are currently.
So ultimately, the opportunities are just going to keep expanding. I'd like to say a big thank you to you, Samuel Intiwe Theophilus, for coming to talk to us this morning. Samuel, by the way, is an AI engineer, and he is the founder of Intiwe.io. Again, we say we appreciate you for your expertise.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. We'll take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, my colleague Godwin Sunday will be talking about the education system in Nigeria and what more we can do to drive radical reforms within the shortest time possible. Stay with us.
know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back to Global Morning on Global Television. Right now we'll be talking about the fixing of the Nigerian educational system and the need to drive sector-wide reforms even in the sector. And joining me in this conversation is Chukwuemeka Goswill, who is the founder and CEO of Bold Scholar Research here in Abuja. You're welcome to Global Morning. All right, so let's delve into the conversation. First, education is a critical priority for Nigeria, as for many serious nations, for their growth and their development. But unfortunately, in the past 10 years, we've not really seen any dramatic improvement in Nigerian educational system. There's need to address the educational systems right now, even in Nigeria. But let's start from first looking at your take on the Nigerian educational system, where we are right now. What do you make of the Nigerian educational system first?
Well, the Nigerian educational system has gone through a lot of tears and wears. You know, we have a country that doesn't pay much attention to the education sector. However, there has been a dramatic change in the present administration, where for the first time they've allotted up to 7.9%, of the budget to the education sector. It's groundbreaking because the nation hasn't seen it like this before. So, but then the issue is not just about allotting a lot of money, allocating a huge sum of money to the education sector. The issue is the money allocated to the sector, how do they use it? So we've had system where people do not use the fund allocated to the unit, to the sector judiciously. So that has really affected the outputs, and the sector, that particular sector has really suffered, and it's really a terrible thing. So there's so much that is ongoing now, which we believe the present administration would look into it We know the West, the western part of this country has interest in education, and if you look at those that have really produced a lot of scholars in this present nation, I think the Southwest has really done much. So it's not shocking that the present administration, is looking into that. So, but that sector has really performed poorly.
Interesting. Yeah. So let's talk in terms of young people and education in Nigeria. We've seen, of recent, we've been sending wrong signals across to international communities where we see majority of Nigerian young persons coming out to say education is a scam. First, and this has formed the narrative of young people conversation. But how correct is this?
Well, that particular narrative is driven by the things the young people see around them. We have a society where people that didn't do well in education are really thriving, and then academically they didn't perform well, but then they are doing very well, financially. There are two things that bring this. One is a particular part of this nation, the Southeast, for instance. We have this system. The Southeast has this system where someone can groom an apprentice. The apprentice didn't go to school. He finishes his apprenticeship and then starts doing something, and he thrives. Then he probably has a sibling who has gone to the university, even become a professor, and he's not doing very well in the education. And then we have other set of people that also go into crime, and this crime is not checked. And then you see them performing, financially well, as people can say it, and people really work by sight. So when young people see things like this, where someone didn't go to school and is doing very well, financially, then someone is into crime and is doing very well financially, and nobody's checking the criminal, you won't blame them when they say education is a scam. So, but then anybody that says education is a scam, doesn't really understand what education is all about. Education is not for you to understand just the theoretical part. What education does for you is to help you to think. That is the essence of education. Education makes you to reason, to question things, to question norms. And when you question norms, you come up with solution to your question. So that is why even in the university where you write thesis, you're meant to provide your question. What does your research, what answer, what question does what's the problem? What problem is your research trying to solve? So there's always this question, and then the next thing would be, what solution are you bringing to that question? So you check the way project thesis is structured. Is actually meant to tell you how you're meant to live when you pass through the education system. You see problems, you look at them, and then you come up with solutions. You understand? So the thesis is like a stereotype. It's like a sample of what the life after education should look like. So there's always the question and there's always a solution. So when you write your thesis and you provide the problem statements and you don't provide solution to that problem statement, you have written nothing. So the same applies to real life. When you see things, you should come up with problem. What are you seeing? What problem are you looking at? And then you should also provide solution to that. So when people go through education system and they don't understand how this works, so they come out, they are looking for job, that's the only thing they understand, and if the job is not coming, they are idle. So they are not seeing problems around them. And when they see, you see so many people on the social media, what they do is to point out problems. Every day we hear billions of problems being pointed out. The question is, how many persons out of those that are pointing out the problems? How many persons are profiling solution? So, and the major thing, the progress in your education career, or putting to use the education, the things you have acquired, in the knowledge you have acquired in education, in your studies, in your learning, where it comes to use is when you start providing solutions. You understand? Yeah. So the same applies to the thesis you write. You write your thesis and you don't provide answers to the problem statement you have stated in that thesis. You have written nothing. So it applies to life. You state problems, you come up with solutions. So people say education is scam because they do not come up with solutions to the problems they see around them. So like I said, the essence of education is to help you profile solutions. So that is how these things work.
All right, thank you so much for that feedback. Between the age of 5 to 14, based on my statistic, out of school children in Nigeria right now has hit a referendum of about 10.5 million children. And the number of literacy cases in Nigeria, according to World Bank data, stands at 65.1%. With all of this data, are we ready to improve on our educational systems in Nigeria?
Well, the thing about Nigeria is, well, first of all, we don't even keep data. Then when we get the data that is railed out by international bodies, we still don't make good use of them. We only get to quote them without using the data. There's one part which is getting the data, the other part is making good use of the data. All right, so it is very heartbreaking to see the number of out-of-school children. Now the question is, what is this nation doing to combat the problem? So that is the issue. So if we look at the problem, it's very humongous. That statistics is very embarrassing and should embarrass any nation. But the problem is, what are we actually doing? We would be happy if the nation, if the country, especially the Ministry of Education under this administration, under the distinguished Alausa, Dr. Alausa, Tunji Alausa, if he can look at these statistics and then come up with ideas on how to combat this problem. And part of what I think the nation should be looking at is trying to encourage the private sector, the people that are providing, building private institutions, coming up with how they can really police them and then help them to enlarge what they have. And then also the government itself should be building more schools, or at least enlarging the capacity of the ones they have. And for places like the north, where you have people in the rural areas where the education is almost like a crime, they should find a way to take education to those people and then reach out and come up with schemes that will really pull these people out of where they are. So that statistics is embarrassing. So, but like I said, we'll always point out the problem. The major solution is in pointing out the solution.
All right, so let's talk about the literacy rate right now, okay, which is starting at about 65.1%. Of course, the number of Nigerians that don't read right now is also worrisome, because if we have 68.1% of literacy rate right now, according to World Bank data, it's worrisome. But then it seems as though there is something affecting even younger people. We find a situation where a lot of young people don't want to read. That's why I asked you that question first. Is education a scam? Then looking at this figure, can we say at this point that it is due to the fact that our educational system the mode of studies is not that lucrative, or the learning curve or learning method is not that fascinating and interesting. That's why a lot of young people don't read in the country, because this literacy rate is really worrisome. But what's your take on young people that don't even want to read in this time?
Well, it's we have to understand the trend of things. We have to understand the trend of things. The trend of things determine the outputs in certain, areas of people's life. If you are into journalism, for instance, if you do not have social media presence, you would not pay for much. There's about over 3 billion people there now. So if you're looking at running the media organization the conventional way, the old way, you're going to have a problem. So part of what the nation should look into is the current trend. There is what we call the education technology. The education technology has come in, and most people are currently facing, or always, daily, per minute, per second actually, looking at their screen. So if you focus on getting people, the young people in this present age, to read the conventional papers, we're going to lose. We're going to really lose out on the number of persons we should be bringing to read. So part of what I think we should be looking at is introducing technology, the education technology, to improve reading culture. And this is part of what we've looked at. We've looked at the trend, Bold Scholar, we've looked at this book to the screen, where they can read the book. So on the screen, a reader is capable of carrying billions of books at once. But on the paper, you can only carry maybe you can carry like 2 books at once and be moving around. Except you have a bag, you put it in a bag, it's going to weigh you down, as a matter of fact. And if you have the paper, after a while,
I'm wondering, are we walking in a reversal in the country? Because we learned through the manuals, we learn from the manuals, we learn through the books, and the Western technology. Of course, they have not thrown the books away. They are still with the books.
I'm not an apostle of throwing the books. Before you understand, please. Now, what I mean is, take the book to where the people can see it. You understand? A lot we have seen the trend. The trend is that people are looking at the screen. If you're trying to compare them to go to the library, we've seen it's like trying to drag the horse to the pool. You can take the horse to the river, but forcing the horse to drink is a problem. You understand that? So now you can force a child, go to the library, stay in the library. You take him to the library, he is there. If he has a screen with him, he will spend, if he has an hour, he will spend 40 minutes on the screen. You understand what I'm saying? So now, the book is the major thing. Now, what I'm, presenting is, what I'm actually trying to say is, let the book be taken to where the young people can see the book. The books are in the library, even in the West, they read, but of course, they are the ones that have even introduced the digital book.
That's the e-book again.
That's the e-book. The e-book. Now you see, Amazon has done a lot, and the same thing is what Bold Scholar has brought to Nigeria. In the West, you see, they have taken the book there, and authors who write these books, over there in the West, they make so much money on digital platforms. As a matter of fact, as at last month, Amazon paid authors over $50-something million monthly. Monthly, I'm not talking about yearly. And their authors are happy to write, authors themselves. So Now, what the West has learned to do is to digitize this so that the author does not just reach out to people within his circle, he reaches out to the global community. That is what digital book does. So he earns so much and he's happy, he's very eager to write again. Good book, because the financial stress has been lifted from his shoulder. So the reader also, who is somewhere in one village, can now, through the digital means, see what someone in the United States has written. And the same applies to someone in Nigeria, someone in the United States can see what he has written. So you see the thing now. So the issue of literacy is this. People should be encouraged first, and there should be issue of visibility of what to be read.
So in what you said, wouldn't this further expand the illiteracy rate in the country, knowing fully well that a lot of people in remote communities don't even have access to reading materials? Now, when you talk of digital, we'll go digital, and we should move away from the book and put our eyes and make the people to focus on where the books are, which you said it's digital and e-platform. But wouldn't this broaden the gap of marginalization in terms of education in this regard?
Well, the issue of marginalization, I don't think that applies to education.
Okay, so what I mean by that is broadening the gap of people that are able to afford digital gadgets, and those that will be able to afford digital gadgets. People in remote community would not share in your optimism as it stands right now when it comes to the digital world. But in this regard, how can we ensure that we have a balance in
these? Or those in the urban areas can have access to e-books. Now, the National Library should be looking at setting up digital libraries here and there. And, the same, let me still refer back to Bo Scholar. Bo Scholar partners with the National Library to provide this solution. And as it is now, people can go to the site and read. You can go very soon. The National Library is going to open up a place where you can go and then you sit before a computer, you access books. But then, if the digital book is provided for some certain persons, the government will have enough fund to provide hard copy books to those in the rural areas that don't have access to digital gadgets. You understand? Because fund is also part of the things that will affect access to the resources. Funding. So from the humongous amount of money that has been about 7.9% of the 28 trillion that was released in this particular budget 2024. So if that money, as huge as it is, that 7.9% that is allocated to education is set towards getting books, filling the library, then getting e-books, filling, the e-centers, e-libraries. People will have access to books. But what is happening now is that so many places don't have access to even the digital books. And an e-library is a system where you can access these things on the go. So it's not just about visiting a library to have access to these books. You can actually have access to the books on the go. You understand? So that's how it should work. So those in the rural areas, the government should send hard copy books to them. But schools in the urban areas, there should be digital libraries provided for them to access contents. And digital space has unlimited access. Unlimited. There are platforms that have over 13 million. There's one I know that has over 13 million resources.
Well, so you are recommending more of digital libraries across the country, knowing fully well that we still have epileptic power supply in the country. In most major libraries across the country don't even have powers, electricity to deal with. And you recommend, please stay with us.